Hi there, I'm Alanna Starr Shimel. I am conducting an interview with the amazing Michelle Kearny Lopez. She is an Awakening Starseeds Shattering Illusion co-author, and she's also a Reiki Master, a crystal healer, and check this out, an elementary school teacher. It's really cool. I'm really happy to have you on today. These interviews are a little bit to understand your spirituality, because that's my passion, is to have sacred conversations and connect with each other from this awakening process. And so you co-authored a book with Radha Publishing House in Radha Nilia and their chief technical director, Mike Pistano. So can you tell me a little bit about you that you feel like sharing right now? And because I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions later, but I just want you to be able to share who you are and kind of just start to tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Radha Publishing and with Awakening Starseeds.
Okay. Well, as you said, I'm an elementary school teacher. I've been teaching, this is my 24th year, and I mostly teach primary grade, so like first, second grade. And I also am a Reiki healer, a Reiki Master, crystal healer, astrologer. What else? I do oracle card reading. So I kind of started out my path sort of just doing what people do, right? You go to college, you get married, you have kids, and just working the 9-to-5 job. But somewhere along the way, I went through this awakening. So that's when I discovered that, the true nature of who I am as a person. And that's what led me to the healing arts that I shared with you.
So your true nature,
Yeah.
which would be definitely connected to the idea of, awakening to who am I, why am I here, what's my purpose. And so that's how you kind of, your spiritual path took you towards meeting Radha, right?
Right.
And I read that you have a connection to the goddess, which I find fascinating as well, because I think that we all do. And so Kuan Yin in particular, which I have behind me here, my office partner who I share with, she decorated all this. So give props to her, Catherine. This is Oracle Healing Space. But back on topic. So with Radha Publishing, your true nature, true nature as a healer. So tell me, what's it like for you to be is it a public school or is it private?
Yes. Public school. Yeah.
Okay, so how have you maintained your sense of identity and individuality of your spirituality within being a school teacher? Because I know that it can be, I really don't know anything about what it's like, so I would love to hear.
Right. Okay, that is such a good question, because that's exactly what I've been navigating in recent years, is how do I have one foot in, working in my third dimensional life and still maintain my spiritual identity, which is a newer discovery for me. I had to awaken to the starseed aspect, or the multidimensional aspect of myself. And so it has been quite a balancing act. And so I used to think that I had to spend, kind of go back and forth, like walk through a door, be in the third dimension, walk through another door, be in the higher dimensions. And what I've discovered in more recent years is that there is no separation between the two, that everything is connected. And so rather than viewing it that way and viewing these parts of myself as being separate, I decided to start just integrating it all together and just weaving it all together. And that was kind of a natural, organic process that happened, guided by higher self, and just seeing that I don't have to, I'm a bit of a bridge, right? I'm a bridge between dimensions, that once we go through the process of awakening, we get called back in. Okay. So we take the newfound knowledge that we learned in the awakening journey. And there's a lot of separation in that, because there's that feeling of wanting to just run away and separate, and go live like a hermit somewhere, or go find a spiritual community and live a hippie life or whatever, go off grid. But that really is what I've discovered is not the way it works. So at some point, I decided I've been planted here rather than seeing that I've been buried. I just decided that I'm not buried here. I'm planted here. And so I'm just going to make the best of this experience and go deeper into it so that I can make a difference. So, and that's kind of what led me to the things I've been doing in the classroom. So.
Amazing. So what is your chapter like in Awakening Starseeds?
Okay. Well, my chapter it's called Broken Open, Cosmic Wake Up Call. And that chapter talks about my earlier awakening journey, the first initial awakening, where I was just kind of cruising along in 3D life. And somehow I always say that spirit found me. I wasn't searching. I wasn't practicing yoga. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing anything like that. But somehow I had this very sudden awakening. So it was something I could not ignore.
Was that a Kundalini experience, would you suppose? I think I read that about part of your process was your Kundalini awakening. And do you do Kundalini yoga, or is it you just do yoga, or what's your process with the Kundalini?
I've done a little bit of Kundalini, breathing and that kind of thing. The yoga I practice now is just, vinyasa flow, hatha style yoga. But back then when that happened, it was a Kundalini, what I would call not a full-blown Kundalini awakening, but an activation. So it took me many years to try to understand what happened and understand the difference. And so what happened with me, it was sort of this like top-down phenomenon where energy started pouring in from the top rather than what you would call like a traditional Kundalini awakening where it's, it's the coiled snake at the base of the spine that coils up. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like pretty much spirit was saying, you need to wake up. You've overslept for too long, and now this is going to hurt a little bit. And it did. It hurt quite a bit, actually. So.
Right. Okay. So I know we got a little off topic from the Kundalini because I wanted to hear about your Kundalini experience, but we were trying to figure out or hear what your story, your chapter was about, really. So I think
Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what I talked about in that chapter. So, one night I went to sleep, and I had this, what I would call like a sleep paralysis. And in the sleep paralysis state, I could see all kinds of things, in my atmosphere that were not pleasant, lots of dark energies and things like that. And then I felt like I had this experience where it felt like something was ripping out my spirit or my etheric body, whatever you want to call that. And it was at the solar plexus area. And it felt like I had been snapped out of my body and then snapped back in like a rubber band. And when I snapped back into my body, I woke up and I was just on fire, like the hottest fever you would ever experience without actually having a fever, without actually being sick. And at that, everything was activated and open, the third eye, the crown. And so from that day on, I started, experiencing all kinds of things, seeing things, shadow beings everywhere I go. So lots of things were opening up. And there was a lot of purifying and purging and cleansing within my physical body. So a lot of energy being released. It felt like this chakra back here felt like it was like had a flame burning from it. Just lots of sensations, lots of body, light pouring in, what I would call like the rays of light, the 7 rays of light. So very confusing. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, did all the traditional Catholic things.
So you would probably agree that there is a phenomena going on. It doesn't matter where you're from or, if you are online to it, you're online to it.
Right.
So, your connection to being a school teacher and a healer, that combination, I have so many questions I want to ask you about it. Like, why is school so 3D, in some ways? And it's like, how do you feel you in that environment when you know spiritually and intuitively how to help? And I read that you practice mindfulness in the classroom.
Okay. Yes.
I think it's so important because I wish as a child that I, as an indigo or whatever special crystal child that I wish that, you know, there was more understanding of mindfulness at that time, what it has to do with, you know, our astrology and all these different things that, you know, teaching us just to be calmer.
Yes.
In settings like in school. I mean, how do you deal with that cross feeling of spirituality and 3D?
Yes. And I resonate with what you said. Me too. It having that, my school experience was very different than what I think we could potentially have. So yes, we all kind of needed that when we were younger. Well, I'll tell you what, I got to a point in 2012 when I kind of hit my rock bottom, and I actually ended up in psychiatric care. So when I returned to work, I was like, something's got to change. I cannot stay here and continue on. I cannot carry on in this world of matter with the way things are, the way they exist. And so little by little, I started taking the baby steps to change it. And first I started with myself. I had to heal myself, and I went through my own self-healing process, which included, Reiki, shamanic healing, visiting, many different types of healers and modalities, and just doing my own, working on my own psychology, purifying and cleansing. So when I was strong enough, I started implementing into the classroom things that I had learned, which were the things that you could do, secular things. So like just breathing and yoga and changing the mindset. So there's the social emotional learning component to it, and just intending positive things. Like today, let's intend to have joy in the classroom. Let's intend to be more caring. And it's about activating the right brain, the more feminine aspect of self. So because we tend, and this is true of anybody who's in the work world, is we tend to be very left brain dominant, and we tend to really get attached to schedules, which is kind of ironic because today we were pretty attached to schedules.
And also because school systems are by the bell, like it's like, oh, you have to be up at this time, you have to be to class here. If you're late, you're detention. Like it's just so much, it's just not fun.
It is. It's a very, it's very, it's, and naturally I like to move at my own breath. So naturally there's a part of me that's kind of like a little bit rebellious, and inside I'm like, oh man, I wish I didn't have to do that. But I sort of changed my mindset at one point, and I decided that I would look at it differently and take a paradigm shift and say, you're here for a reason. And yeah, you have to navigate the third dimension just like everybody else. But with awareness, we can see that we are multidimensional, and it really makes no difference. We're in all the dimensions. We're in the third, fourth, fifth, and beyond. So it's okay.
So did you get a lot of good feedback from parents and other teachers? Do you feel like it's the world must be changing, really?
Yes.
So
yes,
you're a part of that. You're a part of that movement. Because it is also important too to understand the idea of meditation. As a clinical hypnotherapist myself, I know that children, mostly from a very young age, are very programmable. And so, it's super important to be mindful of what's going into their minds and because every little thing affects the way that they will relate to others.
Yeah.
It's like way deep. We can talk about that a lot, right? But my main focus for this is just, understanding or seeing that you've been a bridge to be able to create the changes in the school system. So that's really cool.
Yes.
To see that you're someone who's doing that.
Yes. It's felt a little bit like at times where it's like there's hard, dry earth, and here I am coming in with my chisel, and I'm trying to break through and make that first crack, which has been like a huge volume of energy to carry, just being one person. And so I've known that, I mean, I can't do this work alone. And so what's great now is this whole mindfulness movement is starting to really get in the schools now, and teachers are getting on board, and they're excited about it. And it's, for me personally, it made me love teaching again. It totally breathed new life into the work I was doing. So instead of just focusing on curriculum and facts and things like that, now I'm trying to bring in the heart and trying to maintain a sense of creativity and that caring and the compassion that these kids need, the social emotional learning.
I could totally see how you got linked up with Radha, because the compassion idea is what we're really trying to relay. That's what Kuan Yin has that.
Yeah.
But that's the vibe of that, the mother archetype of just kind of like knowing the world is ready for this wisdom, and this world is ready for the sensitivities to be understood fully, and our emotions and how they work. So that's pretty cool. You know, have you ever written a book before, or is this your first time authoring anything?
This is my first time authoring anything. Yes.
Amazing.
I mean,
so,
I have.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I have a few little things on my computer that that has never seen the light of day, but this is the first attempt at publishing, and I'm super grateful for this platform and that I met Radha. And yes, it was Kuan Yin that
Do you have the
Radha.
book? Do you have the book in your proximity?
The Awakening Starseeds book?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
I felt like you did.
You did. You're good, girl.
Let's see it.
Yes.
It's not pretty. Yes. Awakening Starseeds, Shattering Illusions. It's a series of, I think it's going to be 11, so 22 books are going to be coming out. Will you be in the next round of books where you make a chapter 2, or are you going to continue your own book based off of your chapter?
Right now, I'm planning on having a chapter in the second Awakening Starseeds book. I don't have any plans to write my own book at this moment in time, because I'm also working on a children's book right now. That's my main focus. At some point, though, I possibly could.
Well,
Definitely.
It's really cool that this is an opportunity for, you know, anyone who wants to start sharing their story but doesn't necessarily have the time or space really to create a whole novel. Awakening Starseeds is a way for you to share your story from your awakening, and with other people in a group of people who are like evolved and all doing the same work. And so which chapter are you? What number are you?
I'm number 8.
Number 8, that's one of my numbers.
Oh,
lovely.
Yeah, the 8 has been showing up a lot for me, and before I was number 9, and then somehow I became number 8. So I'm like, oh, that's a new timeline.
Yeah, multiple timelines. So what was your process like? You know, what kind of feedback did you get from Radha Publishing? Would you feel like, you know, just shared if you felt like how it can be for someone who also might want to be an author, like some tips you can give them, or, you know, what that was like for you?
Yeah, so my process was fairly simple. I knew I had a story in me. So I know there's a lot of people out there who have a story to tell. Okay, anybody who's been on an awakening journey, and it's kind of a story that's burning inside them that they haven't actually been able to express. So for me, what I did was I just sat down at my computer one day. I just went to a coffee shop, and I sat down, and I just, with the intention that I'm just going to tell what happened. I'm just going to tell the facts. And I just let it come out of me. Then later on, I came and looked at it again with fresh eyes. And I said to myself, does this story have heart in it? Does it convey the message from the heart that you really want to get through? And it was like, well, it's there, but it wasn't fully clear or conveyed in the story. So I went back and I started pulling out a little bit of extraneous things, and then putting in things that express more fully from my heart what I wanted to say. And I had a story. So that's pretty much how it went. It was a fulfilling process. I didn't find it to be terribly challenging. It just seemed natural.
Amazing. And so I think you also went to the Dimensions of Disclosure event and with the booth there and had a book signing. And you also have an event coming up with Lynn Pacificar, right? You guys are having your book launch party.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
exciting. It's really
Yeah.
exciting. It's an exciting time for you and everybody who's in the chapter or in the book. So Dimensions of Disclosure, did you have a good time there? Did you meet anybody cool?
Oh my goodness. Dimensions of Disclosure was so much fun. I've been to many conferences, but this one in particular definitely had a really high vibe. Everyone there was like in very good spirits, and connecting with the other, with Rada and Mike and Stasia and Lynn, that was priceless. It was really, really a great positive experience. I feel like I have known them forever and haven't really known them that long. So really positive experience. I really enjoyed it.
It's Soul Tribe.
Yeah, Soul Tribe.
Soul Tribe, right? It's Soul
Yeah.
Tribe.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing. So you are you working on anything else that you want to share, like any type of projects? I know you do healing, so do you want to share some stuff about your work and what you do and your sessions and
Okay.
their life?
Yeah. So right now I'm without a space to work out of. So typically in a session, and like a healing session, I do crystal layouts for the body, combined with Reiki and oracle cards, whatever we need to bring in. Sometimes I bring in astrology. So whatever it is that's going to help us get, as much information as we can about where the healing needs to happen. Since I don't have a space to work out of right now, and I feel like that's part of like the universe saying, go here, focus on this. I've been mostly doing astrology readings, because that I can do from anywhere, and oracle card readings too. I also have a children's book that I'm writing. It's called Animal Magic, and it's a children's book that incorporates rhyming, and what it does is it looks to the animals as teachers for the children on how to integrate positive emotional states. Okay, so it could be like, the lion comes in and he's teaching courage. He's teaching about the heart. Or the hummingbird comes in and hummingbird teaches about joy. And there's a yoga pose that the kids can use to integrate that particular animal's lesson. So yeah, so that's another project, and I'm the illustrator's working on it right now, so it should be out sometime late in 2020.
So you do have another book that you're working on?
Yes, I do have another book. Yes.
You had it up your sleeve. That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. That concept. It's pretty. It seems like something that a lot of people who are in the yoga community would really like if they have children, because it's mindfulness. So, you do oracle readings as well. So I like that. I like having the variety of things, and you don't have to have a space right now. I think astrology is amazing to do, especially if you love it. It's very powerful to know, where you're at on the tree of life, where you're at on the wheel, right?
Right, exactly.
So it's good that you can help people with that. So you guys, if you need an astrology reading, maybe you want to give Michelle a chance and let her show you what she has in store. Yes. All right. Well, Michelle, it's been a pleasure having to speak to you and having you on, is what I was going to say. And because in the name of Kuan Yin and in the name of your love for Kuan Yin and me reading that about you, I decided to pull out the Kuan Yin oracle cards that I have in the office here. And I love that it's inspired by Kuan Yin. So I wanted to pull a card for us.
Oh, yes. That's so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, just to see what comes out for us. And I want to tell me when to stop.
Okay, I'll tell you when to stop. Okay. There. Yeah.
Okay. So we have Blossoms of the Sky Dancer.
Oh.
Number 3. Blossoms of the Sky Dancer. Kuan Yin is a being of divine feminine power. Yes, she is. She dances with the sky, the heavenly powers of inspiration. And as a result, life blossoms around her. Kuan Yin brings your guidance that you are creating something important right now, something that is aligned with heavenly forces and light, that is significant for the path of spiritual awakening of this planet. Can we get an amen? Because that's exactly what doing Awakening Starseeds and what you're doing in general.
Yes.
So, whether you are fully conscious of it or not, it is happening. Your spiritual light is flowing into the physical plane with the intention to manifest certain life situations and circumstances. These manifestations are in accordance with the spiritual path, and Kuan Yin will support you in their manifestation with her sky dance, which calls the divine light of inspiration and support into earthly creation, so that we can experience the divine in from here on earth. The way of the sky dancer, Kuan Yin, is the way, or the way of divine magnetism. Yin power is the consciousness and beingness that allows us to draw into our lives that which we desire. We become attractive to it: wealth, well-being, peace, passion, purpose, friendship, support, success, and so on. Rather than going out and striving for it as though we do not have it within us already, we can grow in our capability and simply be and become simultaneously until we experience it physically in our lives. And it's only a matter of time until it happens. There's a little more. I'm going to leave it with that because I think that's powerful enough in its message. And
awesome.
Yeah, I think it was really something told me to pull a card with you because there's always a divine message to be heard. So we're hearing for us to keep doing what we're doing, you know, like now is the time, and the doors are open.
Yes.
The veil's been lifted.
Yes. So, you know, the thing about Kuan Yin is when she had a chance to make her ascension, she looked back and heard the cries of humanity, right? And so she is the Bodhisattva, right? So she put off her own ascension so that she can come back into the world. That's how the story goes, right? To help humanity. So it very much is about bridging the heaven and earth and bringing the higher down here into the third dimension. So,
are you familiar with Sophia?
Yes, Sophia. Yes, the goddess. Yes.
Lovely. I always want to know who knows.
Because yes, I love Gnosticism. So I've heard a few of your interviews with Radha where you talk about you know, all the Gnostic things. So yes, I love that very much.
Wonderful.
We should chat again sometime.
I was going to say that I'll probably bring you back on just to have a Sophia's Voice interview as well, because you know, interviews, it's not just a one-time thing. I'm not just like, oh, I'm going to interview you and that's it. These are interviews and they're like endless. Your interviews are so numerous and, you know, magnificent. So I would love to continue our conversation talking about the Holy Goddess and Sophia, which is the wisdom.
Yes.
And so we can really bring in some wisdom of the feminine and to be able to put out more of a frequency of healing and, you know, love and compassion.
Yes.
So with that being said, if anybody wants to learn more about Awakening Starseeds and how they can become an author in the next series, I cannot remember what the second book is called. Every time I start to do these videos, it slips my mind, but I'm totally a supporter. Please, do you know what the chapter is? I mean, the title is going to be of the next book series?
I think it's called Shattering Illusions, right?
Shattering Illusions, yes. So yeah, if you want to tell your story and you want a chapter, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to Radha Publishing directly. I'm sure you can find them. I'll put a link below, as well as Michelle's information, how you can reach out to her, how you can learn about her chapter even more, or check out Amazon to get a copy of the book. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing evening and blessings to everyone. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Alanna.